Good evening, everyone. Thanks for watching. I'm Frances Weller.
I'm John Evans. We begin tonight with an update on the controversial merger between Pender County and Pender EMS and Fire. With dozens of first responders leaving in recent months, county commissioners spent tonight debating one potential solution. WECT's Connor Smith joins us now with details on the $900,000 incentives package commissioners discussed. Connor, what's inside this proposal and what did commissioners have to say about it?
Yeah, Fran, this package addresses some of the main concerns from the people who have left the agency over recent months. Thousands of dollars committed to pay increases, benefits, and training for employees. But ultimately, commissioners decided they need more time to think this over. As Pender County leaders try to bring Pender EMS and Fire under county control, first responders have continued to walk away from serving the county.
I'm losing people on a regular basis, and they need to go ahead and act on this.
Assistant Chief Mark Haraway says since March, 39 EMS and Fire employees have left, and at least 4 more are trying to leave. County leaders say the employees are worried about the uncertainty surrounding the merger, some with pay and leadership concerns. Pender EMS and Fire officials are now asking the county for help. A resolution went in front of commissioners Monday night asking for thousands for signing bonuses, pay increases, and training.
It's ridiculous. They've promised our firefighters and our EMS personnel the best of the benefits, best of the salaries.
Commissioner Jimmy Tate says first responder staffing is an issue they need to address.
I'm extremely concerned.
But he also believes commissioners need to take care of the people already working for the county.
I believe we need to pause for a moment and see how we can help all employees.
After some discussion Monday night, commissioners decided to table voting on the resolution until their next meeting. Haraway says regardless, the county needs to start taking care of his team.
If they want to have a staff to merge with and acquire July 1, they need to give us this incentive package.
But for now, employees are still stuck in limbo. Now, county staff decided not to recommend part of the proposal to give EMS and Fire employees the same holidays as county employees. That would have cost over $500,000 alone, but again, was not part of what county staff recommended here. Fran?
So, Connor, how about the merger itself? Where does that stand?
Yeah, the plan is still to have Pender EMS and Fire employees working for the county by the start of next July. Pender County leaders are also holding town halls to answer your questions about the merger. We do have dates and locations for those on your WECT News app.
All right, Connor, thanks so much.